Should I introduce you as a poet?
Why not?
Why not? World famous poet. You
No, that's certainly not true.
Well, you hang out at Beyond Baroque
Well,
in Venice.
well, how many of you know Beyond Baroque?
Yeah! And how about this? You hung out with Ginsberg,
Well, that's true.
great poet, and he wrote you a good review, right?
That's true.
And you hung out with William Burroughs.
That's true.
Very nice. It's an honor to have you here, Mark.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I have to say, sort of in prep of this, because it's funny, Will emailed me and he said, what are you going to do? And I said, oh, I don't know. Jerry wrote me and said, oh, come and read something. So that's the extent of my preparation. And so I saw what the description was, and I saw that it had a sort of cut up, you know, in the Burroughs sense, a cut up sort of theme, you know, Burroughs would razor his text and sort of juxtapose them, and you get phrases like dead fingers talk, or this sort of thing. So I said, well, okay, we'll try to, what do I have that kind of fits into that? I'll try to be brief, but basically what I did here was the tiny sections of this particular short story is based on my own experience of taking too many drugs and winding up in 2 different mental wards in a very short time when I was 20 years old, which is a long time ago. So I tried to get down this experience of what it was like to do this in a third-person short story. So rather than make him endure the entire short story, I think, since I kind of imagined, at least correctly, what Will would do, and I like what he's doing very much, so you don't have to look at me. I can sit somewhere where I can get out of
Here on this chair.
Yeah, so I can get out of the image.
But your face got to project that way, so just do it.
Let me see what's happening. And so you can look at the movie, and then you can just hear some of this to go along with it, and that's the, I just want to give you the background. And it won't be too long, and I'm only going to read sections of it. So, it's called Chemical Man, and it's in this book, Signs of Life, which is still in print. It's a nice little collection that came out of Manic D. Channel surfing through 90s culture. So that'll give you an idea how long ago that was. But at any rate, the moon behind the wire. Do you believe everything moves 360 degrees? Billy stood in the white sheet of the metal ward, talking to the black man who thought himself Satan. Billy thought himself Buddha. He had walked into the LA police station having taken mushrooms, but this only feeding the PCP Messiah breakdown, the full moon directly above with 2 rainbow rings of condensing mist. He was wearing a Bogart felt hat, 1 tennis shoe, and 1 rubber thong, a towel as a sort of Hindu skirt, an Indian pajama shirt and love beads, pre-punk shades, a mop in his hand as a yippie staff, and a plastic flight bag full of books and trinkets he intended to show Chief Davis and the inevitable media god. First step in changing the world, enlightening the cops. And so, smoked some more of the PCP as soon as he got back to SF, the sweet menthol, cool, medicinal dentist taste of the drug spreading over him. I salute the sun with 1 eye, O Cyclopean pinhead, O miracle of Satan and Jesus. I march into the world with all the answers. I announce new time. I correct the wicked. Dish your faults through the black plague. I've never had it. The blast church cunt rap zuch your mithering sin. He began the acid. It was a school holiday for a month. Plenty of time to experiment. Nobly. Every day a sliver of the drug, not enough to make the mind forget its own skull, just enough for the blistering eye and the too bright chemical joy. Woo! Now wasn't that something? Whether dog on the street or skull in the head, but still knowing where the dog began and the skull ended for a while. Blag! Stooge! Skull heap! Fists of blood! murdering hordes of insect. I was your mother. Ah, and yes, and oh, so very so, he was back in the grip of the Almighty. And which Almighty? Whichever one you please. And did it matter, said the Nazi, crossing himself in the ruined char. As a teenager, he'd been initiated in the secrets of American Hindu madness. He joined the Mantra Club, and after several years of devout mantra chanting, flew to his guru and learned to teach it, finally giving up after a year when he felt as dumb as those who paid $35 a mantra, of which Billy got $17.50. But now, in the days of acid, he found himself suddenly as great as his guru, greater. Now the guru would clap his hands so proud, for he undoubtedly knew all along, being a clever guru, that Billy was the Buddha to come, Maitreya, and the manic surge filled him like a slow motion atom cloud spreading over the Mojave in an orange flash. Vroom! The dust spreads out, and Billy didn't have to worry anymore. Billy was God and Krishna and Buddha back on Earth to help with the Marvel comic war of good versus evil, Bhagavad Gita slug out, where angels and demons, Olympian Set and mighty Isis, the whole Justice League of America, Superjagger, Jaws, every last archetype returned to XX century to pummel each other into shadow or light, the bone of the dice with the black hole cavities of luck. Shiva would win because all was Shiva, all a dream, even if the planet went up in neutron dust. Shiva lit his joint in the void and took a galaxy.
Correct.
Wow. You taking the control of the situation where you weren't in the screen really enabled me to capture it, because Stan Brakhage once said, I'm going to go into a movie theater and watch a film like this. And, we're not allowed to do that. So for you, I was trying to direct you, said, no, we want to hear your voice. You really projected. That was great. But let's do a little quick tetrad on poetry. It's pretty simple.
You'll have to explain it because I don't understand this at all.
But what do you think poetry, you've been involved in poetry for years. That was sort of poetic, novelistic reading.
Yeah.
What does poetry enhance or intensify?
I think at best poetry is a graph of the mind moving.
Graph of the mind moving, that is
Yes,
cool. Rex Roth said, poetry, the function of poetry is to subvert the bourgeois and woo your lover. That sort of sounds like the Occupy movement, man. Let's party and
I'm for that.
That was good though. Say that again. Something the graph.
Well, what interests me most is the in literature is the graph of the mind moving.
Graph of the mind moving.
Like Kerouac. You see that in Kerouac's work.
Very good. I love that word moving. That's good.